more and more people, as the weather is pretty decent, are crossing the channel while they can. Presumably they're being told by the human traffickers, who are very good at their jobs, that all you got to do is land on the beaches or on whichever part of Britain you can find to step onto, and you will be there for the rest of time. We saw at the weekend an incredible story in the Mail, which was emanated from Richard Tice, about the questions that are asked by Home Office inquisitors of these people, and quite frankly, you wouldn't put them in charge of a Welk stand, would you? You wouldn't put them in charge of a pub. You know, you're 18, yeah. Well, you only look about 7, doesn't matter, give me a drink. And they just give them one, you know. Are you telling lies? Yes. Fine, you can come in. You know, it's incredible, isn't it?
Well, indeed, it's even actually worse than what you say. There's grown adults who are claiming to be children who are then put into schools. Everybody can see what's happening, but it's like the emperor's new clothes. If you pretend not to notice, you somehow win some award from the liberal elite. That's what's sort of going on. And also, as you mentioned, all you have to do is get to the shores of the UK. Well, not even that. Or you can remain in French waters and be picked up by the British authorities or the RNLI, and they will take you from French territorial waters in some instances all the way to the UK. The people smugglers in many cases are our own institutions. And of course, you know, there is a problem with the Home Office. There are issues to do with even when a person will have their asylum application considered, the Home Office can't manage to get their lawyers to the hearing, so that they just naturally awarded the asylum because it's unchallenged. The incompetence is manifest and manifold throughout the whole organisation of the Home Office. And this has been the case for many, many years. We can think back to the time of John Reid, the Labour Home Secretary, who described the Home Office as not fit for purpose. And of course, David Blunkett also warning about the issues to do with the amount of migrants coming and how it can shatter community cohesion within the UK. And this has happened in various instances. This has not been got to grips by the Conservative government nor by the Labour government before. And there's an absolute unwillingness to do so, an incompetence. But also, I really think that they want the cheap labour. That's what this comes down to. People are coming here for jobs, better paying jobs than they may have in their home country, but still would be exploited in the black economy, not necessarily paying taxes, being paid under minimum wage, but for some, that's winning the lottery. It's that bad. And so the pull factors are immense, and our own authorities are helping bring them over. Yeah.
I mean, the point is this, though. They're coming here, but they're not actually being given jobs because they're being told they're not allowed to work. So, as you say, the only work they do is if they decide to shuffle off out of whichever hotel they've been put in and decide to do a bit of work for the local car wash, or a bit of work for the local drug dealers, or a little work for, you know, somebody delivering food. I mean, there was an arrest of about 20 people on mopeds in Brighton just the other week who were all delivering food for a well-known food delivery company, shall we say, without mentioning them, and they were all illegal migrants, and they'd all come on boats, and everyone's going, well, that's a bit of a surprise. Well, not to me, it isn't.
Not at all. Indeed, you're absolutely right. There will be jobs available for them without in the black economy, without union protection. It already undermines the whole notion of the welfare state in Britain, or people contributing. There's people working. They can just be summoned by an app to do some job somewhere, and these jobs are available. And we see the amount of impact it has on people who are already in the UK, and how their wages are being pushed down by people who will just turn up for work and work in any conditions. No doubt they'll work very, very hard. That's why they've come here after all. But really, the priority in the UK should be about training up our own people who are in this country already, giving them the proper skills that they need, and then giving them a decent wage at the end of it, rather than bringing in more people and turning our country into a dump of cheap labour. Social dumping is what some people have called it, traditional people on the left who are worried about wages and conditions, terms and conditions for employers. And of course also threatening community cohesion and driving up rent and transforming our cities. And so to this case, which we see now, where even, as you mentioned, the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, has said that people who are traditionally from this country and made up communities within London no longer represent London. Indeed, there's whole aspects of people. The East End of London, for instance, has been transformed and whole cultures have changed. And this has implications about the future of this country going forward. It does mean change. It does mean there's less social cohesion. And as people are atomised and don't necessarily have a sense of well-being within this country. There's different groups living in parts of London within lagers, for instance, that don't necessarily have good links with neighbouring communities. And this is something we need to consider and we need to be very careful of, because of course we have a very good thing within the UK. We are indeed the least racist country in Europe. There's evidence to suggest that. Of course, there's always going to be problems. We have good opportunities for people. It's a very welcoming country, very open-minded, but we've done our bit, surely, when we've taken in millions, literally millions of migrants from Eastern Europe who've come here to work, better lives, get away from the problems that exist within the Eurozone. That's understandable. But if we can't take in any more, England itself, Britain is slightly different because, of course, there's areas of Scotland and Wales which are less densely populated, but England is the most densely populated major country on earth. And this is having an impact in terms of housing, in terms of the rents people pay, in terms of house prices, people not being able to get on the housing ladder, even get council housing. This is all incredibly difficult now, and it's difficult in some cases to go and see a doctor. It's very difficult to go and see a dentist. Virtually impossible for an NHS dentist. In some parts of England, it's nearly impossible to get your children into a school. This all needs to be considered, and we've done our bit. We've been open to the rest of the world for far too long, and it needs to stop.